Hello, namaste. It's Leanne Peters here. I'm from templeofbalance.com.au, Temple of Balance on Facebook and Temple of Balance on YouTube. And I'm here running a little wee bit late, but I'm here to connect with the sixth chakra, the third eye chakra. So the third eye chakra vibrates at the color of indigo. Indigo is a mix of blue and violet. So I've kind of got violet, I got blue. You know, we get the vibe. It's, you know, it can be a bit of a tricky one to dress to, or a really dark purple is probably another one that we could use. I don't really have a lot of things that colour, so sort of a mix here. But it's a very interesting lead up to this particular sharing. It's the first one I've been having phone calls after phone calls, one about a kiln, which could be good news, but I'll wait on that for about another week to know for sure. And then just other stuff going on. And then I was trying to feel about, okay, which instrument do I want to use? Because I've nearly used all of my instruments and I just couldn't decide properly. So I bought both the things I was tossing up. So it's been an interesting lead up to this, which is very typical when talking about the third eye chakra. So this is our sixth of the 7 major chakras. If you haven't caught any of the other chakra videos, and this is your first live one, then welcome. Back in the first video, the first 10 or 15 minutes, I talk about the chakra system. So if you want to know more about what the chakras are, where they sit in the body, and all that sort of stuff, then you'll find that in the first video. So I want to have this solely for our focus on the third eye chakra. So the third eye chakra is our center here, right on our forehead. The front of it is here on the forehead, vortex here going out. And then it actually angles down through the head to the base of the skull is the back of the third eye chakra. So the back of the third eye chakra is the base of the skull, which vortexes out. So that's the only one, except for the vertical one with the base and the crown chakra, the only one that's sort of on an angle. So the third eye chakra is our center for vision, intuition, and trust. So I've never read anywhere that said trust is a part of the third eye chakra. But I did discover it when I was doing my own self-healing many years ago, 10, 15 years ago. I remember realizing that if I don't have trust and feel, and what's the best words to use? If I don't work on trust, and especially anchor it back here to the third eye chakra, then my intuition is just like air. I mean, air is really productive, but what I mean is we can't grasp it. So I can't sit here grabbing air like I could grab, say, this notebook or this pen that's very, you know, dense. I can grab it. So if we don't trust our intuition, then it's just like air and we can't really work with it that productively in our everyday life. So I really wanted to, years ago, when I was first going through this self-healing sort of journey, I wanted to really work out how I could work with my intuition in my day-to-day living, not just spiritual things. So we talk about intuition a lot when we might be doing healing work or doing readings, but really our intuition can be such a great support and tool to use every single day, all day, with just our physical daily activities. You know, what food am I going to cook for dinner tonight? Okay, let's tune in. What do I feel like? Do I need to go and do something? Okay, let's tune in and feel, okay, when am I going to do that? So it just sort of becomes second nature. You don't even really need to sort of stop and tune in. It's just like an instinct now. So trust is a massive part of that. So years ago, I realized that trust is not about whether I trust someone or not. I sort of have this gut instinct whether I can trust someone, but to me trust is much more than that. So when I think of trust, I don't think whether I trust someone or not. I think that's just part of life. Their actions are going to teach me whether I trust them or not. I'm not going to trust words that are spoken. or promises that are made. I can trust someone through their actions. So following through and practicing is really important to me as far as trusting someone else or not. The biggest flag for me is when someone says, "You can trust me," and then I'm like, can I? I'll decide whether I can trust you or not. So trust, that type of trust is rarely something I think about. Trust to me is more about trusting in my intuition, trusting in the steps I take in my life, trusting in the decisions that I make. There's a sort of a sense of confidence, isn't there, that comes with trust. Because when I think about it, if I can trust that this decision I make right now is the best decision to make right now, then there's a sense of confidence with that. If I'm not feeling very trusting, like for example, when I was trying to figure out which instrument to play during this streaming, which is not a big deal, but I just couldn't make a decision, I didn't feel very confident because I wasn't trusting in, I didn't have a clear picture. But that's very symbolic and representative, or a representation of this energy of the third eye chakra. So I feel the trust always comes back to ourselves. I wonder, I've never really been through it, but I wonder if we get fixated on trusting people or not, especially if someone's been betrayed or something, or had some sort of trust issue that's come up. I wonder if that's a deflection of our own self-trust. I don't know, I haven't really experienced it, but so yeah, with trusting other people aside, because that should just be a natural instinct that we have, it's very much about trusting in ourselves. And I've found, as I've explored trust a lot over the years, I found out that trusting myself, trusting my intuition, trusting that I made the right decision and that sort of thing, trusting I am where I need to be in my life, these sorts of things, that doesn't come overnight. It's something that we build upon. So I always thought of it, as I've been exploring it, especially years ago, that it's like a trust wall, my own personal trust wall. And every time I trust something, a feeling that I have or a decision that I make or a step I take in my life, that's a brick that I can then place on my trust wall. And then if another instance or a situation happens where I had this gut feeling and I questioned it and I doubted it and I wasn't sure, so I ended up going with the other option, and then in hindsight I saw, hey, my gut instinct was correct. I should have trusted what I felt with that situation. That's not a cross. That's not a knocking down of my trust wall. I haven't gone back to the start, to square one. That's actually another brick I can put on, because I've actually realised that in this situation, I would have been wise to trust in myself. So I can put another brick on my trust wall and start building it and building it. And I can tell you I've been actively living in the trusting way of myself. I mean, I slip every now and then, but I've been actively doing that since I started Temple of Balance back in 2005. So over 14 years. I've been actively doing that, and I can tell you in this 14 years that I'm still building up my trust wall. I can tell you it's a darn sight bigger. It's like the Great Wall of China now, compared to those early days when it was just, this wall I'm sitting in front of. So it grows and it grows and it grows, and I really feel that it's just infinite growth. So the more I found, now I can reflect back on a good 14 years in this space of trust, I can reflect back and see that my trust has helped me so much in my life, and it's also helped me be able to get further and deeper into my flow, my own natural rhythm of life that works for me. So flow and trust seem to sort of go together, I've noticed. As I trust more that this is the right place, the right time, I'm in the flow. If I'm rejecting it and going, oh, I think I've made a wrong decision here, I'm not in the flow. So there's sort of a on-flow effect, if you like, I've noticed between trust and flow. And I remember the first time I sat and had an order through eBay for a reading back in 2005 when I first started Temple of Balance. And I'd done hundreds of readings with the person in front of me. Hundreds. Done them at expos and shops I used to work for, people that come and see me. I'd done so many readings. I'd never done one distantly. And I freaked out. So I had this order there and the time came to do this reading and I'm having a freak out. How am I going to do this? I don't have the person in front of me. I can't even ask them a question. And I was working a lot with my spirit guides very closely at the time. And one of my spirit guides came in, which is probably just my intuition, came in and said, it's going to be okay. Just trust. Just imagine that person sitting right in front of you. So that's what I did. And that was my first big step forward in trusting, was doing things like this, doing readings, doing connections with people that are nowhere to be seen. And just have to trust 100% that the connection's been made. I have to trust 100% in the cards that I pull. If I have even a little fraction of doubt, if I don't really believe in my cards 100%, or if I have just a fraction of doubt that moment with how I'm picking my card, it's going to make for a doubting, muddy reading. So the best way to get accuracy is to trust. To fully dive in and trust 100%. I believe in trusting my cards. I trust that I'm going to pull the best card based on the way I pick my cards. And I trust that, you know, whatever needs to happen will. So that's a point I've reached, going from that scared person wondering if I'd be able to do just a basic simple reading over eBay through email, to a point now where I can just 100% trust. I just get that strong trusting. And my trusting and my intuition is right for me. You know, there's a lot of people, especially in the spiritual community, that think that they have the right to push their intuition onto other people. So I've noticed from my experience that the more I trust in my intuition and let it be how it needs to be, right for me, and as I give people the safety, the space to let their intuition work for them, then we create the perfect space together. So there's a lot of spiritual teachers that want you to believe their intuition, that my intuition's right over yours because I'm a more powerful person, which is not true. So if I create the best space here for us based on what I'm trusting, what I'm sharing, and if I don't doubt at all and I just trust in the flowing of the moments, and I'm holding this space for you, hopefully to trust what you feel and what you sense and what's right for you. You might be sitting here connecting with the third eye chakra, but just keep being drawn back to your heart, for example. So just because our focus is the third eye and I'm talking about it doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong and you need to come back and bring your attention back to your third eye chakra. If your heart's calling you, there's probably a connection with what I'm talking about, connecting with your heart. For example, your message might be something more like, you're really being encouraged to trust in your heart, that you can trust in your heart. So as we honor our own intuition, our own space of trusting those instincts that we have, as we do that as individuals, as I do that with mine, you do that with yours, someone else does that with theirs, then we have to co-create the perfect synchronicity of living. I mean, we see, don't we, our paths crossing with certain people at the right time. Just because I happen to leave home at this time, or I happen to attend this thing, or I happen to be here at this time and cross paths with someone else that happened to be here at this time, there's no accident. So when we're trusting our intuition and they're trusting theirs, our paths cross. And we've had that happen. I'm sure you can relate to that. So the more we see it happen, the more we're going to trust in perfect timing and trust in those synchronistic moments. The more bricks we put up on our trust wall and let it grow. So a big part of our third eye chakra has to be about trust. Well, that's what I feel. Do you feel that? That's up to you to explore as you trust your intuition and get more trusting of it and feel more confident in your intuition. So what is our intuition? To me, our intuition is the voice of our main psychic sense or senses. So we have 4 main psychic senses: clairvoyance, which is clear seeing; claircognizance, which is clear knowing, so that's our gut feeling. We've got clairsentient, which is probably the most common I see, maybe because I'm one, is an empath. People with clear feeling, they're sensitive to other people's, what's going on around them. And then clairaudience, which is clear hearing, which can be a bit frustrating. But depending on our main psychic sense, because we all have a main one, and then we can develop other ones too, that's how our intuition speaks to us. So I have all of mine quite heightened, if you like, or developed, because I've worked on doing that for many years. So my intuition now speaks to me not only through feeling, which is my main sense, or being an empath, but also speaks to me through visions, through hearing, and through gut instincts. So it sort of works together. My intuition speaks to me through how I'm sensitive to energy. So for example, if you're a strong sensitive, a strong empath, what we would call clairsentient, then your intuition will probably speak to you mainly through feeling. So you might have a feeling that something feels not quite right, or something feels right, and I just feel like I want to pursue that. Or you might be more of a visual person, clairvoyant. So you might have a vision of something. You might have visual dreams or meditations, or just have random flashes in your mind's eye. So that would be how your intuition speaks to you. Your intuition may speak to you more through your gut instinct, your claircognizance. So it's hard to explain why, but you just know. You just know you have to go there. You know you have to leave home now. You know you have to do this or that. So that strong sense of knowing, that's the intuition. So that's what I've found with the intuition. It's the voice of our main psychic sense or senses. So we can have multiple ones quite active at once as we develop them. So if you're mainly a feeler, if you're mainly a sensitive, then that's where it's encouraged for you or for us to embrace our sensitivity. They're really great qualities to be a sensitive, caring person. We usually have to keep strong boundaries, but this is a great, compassionate person that's a feeler. So when we reject that we're a feeler, then how are we going to trust our intuition? So our intuition's trying to speak to us through feeling, and if we're rejecting the feelings, then they're getting backed up behind this wall. We might be looking elsewhere for my intuition. Where's my intuition? Looking for it, and it's there backing up behind some brick wall because we've put a wall up against it. So a big key in trusting and a big key in connecting with our intuition has to be accepting our main way of sensing subtle energy through feeling, seeing, hearing, or knowing. So when we know what our main psychic sense is, especially if we're just starting out, it can be a great advantage in understanding a little bit more about ourselves and how our intuition's going to speak to us. And then when we know how our intuition speaks to us, then we can start trusting it because we know it's leading us down the right path. It's very hard to trust something that we might be questioning or that might keep leading us into obstacles and challenges. But the truth is we might be actually avoiding our intuition. We might be running on impulse or running on our own fears. And that may be leading us to obstacle after obstacle rather than it being our intuition or rather than it being whether we're trusting or not. So I think when we strip back trust and we strip back intuition, I think it really comes back down to, in regards to our third eye chakra, whether we're accepting our way of sensing subtle energy or not. And I see so many people rejecting that they're an empath. I see a lot of people rejecting they're an empath and wanting to be able to see. I want to be clairvoyant. I want to see spirit. I want to see auras. And not many people can actually really do that. There are some, but not a lot. I think from what I see, most people are sensitive through feeling. So the more we divert our attention to something that's not going to work for us yet, and we avoid our main way of experiencing subtle energy, then we've got really no hope at this time of knowing what our intuition is, following it or trusting it. So stripping back, understanding ourselves. What are we? Are we empaths, sensitives? Are we visual? Are we knowers? Do we hear subtle energy? So that would really be the starting point. So I also see our third eye chakra as quite often being like a lighthouse. You know, a lighthouse on the edge of a cliff. Light, our vision, foreseeing the future. And if we don't have our intuition, if we're not plugged into our senses, if we're not plugged into our intuition and we're not trusting, then we're probably not going to have much vision for the future, for our future. You know, hope, planning to a degree, trusting, being able to sort of foresee and intuit potential moments and feeling which moments potentially best. You know, if we have an idea, we might be able to sit with it and intuitively sort of put ourselves there and feel on, okay, which feels stronger? Which feels like the path to take? So that also comes back to our third eye chakra. You know, the biggest block I see in the third eye chakra is the good old cross over the third eye. The sealing shut of our third eye chakra, usually from being christened, baptized, crossing off, sealing shut. Your intuition has no power here. You need to follow the almighty wisdom of the whoever is, you know, the institution or the religion. So we've done a lot over the years of unsealing that and opening up the third eye chakra. So we can tap in, so we as individuals can tap into the power of our intuition and the power of being able to trust it. Because can you imagine a world when we're so tuned into ourselves and not selfish, but we're just aware of who we are? We know we know ourselves and we can connect with ourselves. And we also respect and let other people be empowered. So we're not trying to force people to be like us or push our ways onto others, but we're honouring our space and we can honour the space of others. Can you imagine a world where all individuals are doing that? And how I can see it in my mind's eye with my clairvoyance now, as the world, as the earth, with lights on. You know, when we see those nighttime pictures of the earth and you've got like cities alight with electricity, and then you've got little dots of cities and cities and cities dotted around in the nighttime for that region. I could just see the earth and all of us as individuals lighting up like little lighthouses all across the earth as we trust our intuition, as we trust in perfect time, perfect place. If something doesn't feel right, we make a change. We can trust that I need to go here now, or I feel I need to do this now. I feel I need to say this now. And we've got no agenda. We're not saying it out of fear, not saying it to try and convince and manipulate people to think like us. We've got an honest open heart, an honest open throat chakra. We're standing firm and comfortable in our skin. We don't want to change anyone. We just want to live our best, and we want to see others live their best. I can see us all lighting up like little lighthouses, connecting little cords like webs between us all as we navigate our day-to-day life in full trust of who we are. In the power of that. There is power in it. Even though our personal power may come back to the solar plexus chakra, there's a lot of power. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of confidence in being able to trust, fully trust in what we're doing at whatever moment we're doing it. From the mundanest things to the most spiritual and enlightened of things. So the third eye chakra excites me. It really excites me. I can see the potential of awakening in the human race when we have healthy, activated, powerful, respectful third eye chakras. So no wonder why when we became suppressed as a species that we were sealed shut here. We were shut down our power. our intuitive power, our sixth sense, if you like. So how can we get it back? We can't convince other people to awaken theirs. We have to be a living and breathing example of it, don't we? We just have to live it and breathe it in every moment that we can. I mean, we're going to slip sometimes, but if we can recognize that we slip and be honest with ourselves, we can get back on track again. We're not perfect. We're all just stumbling around doing our best. But I can tell you, doing our best when we've got our third eye chakra activated, if you like, and our trust strong, and our intuition strong as well, there's less stumbling. Maybe it's less stumbling around in the dark, and we've got the light shining and guiding us forward. So there's more of a trust in stepping even into the unknown, which is a big topic right now. A lot of people are scared because there's the unknown in front of them. They don't know what they're going to do. They don't know how it's going to turn out, and they're freaking out. If we had this activated and turned on, this is our light in the darkness. This is our light as we are in the unknown, because we just work it out. We work out and we take one step at a time. This feels solid. This feels right now. I don't know where I'm going to walk in 3 steps time, but it feels right now. So I'm going to take it. And then I'm going to take the next step and the next step. So even though we might feel blindfolded, we have this light source, this powerful light source, always sensing for the right way to go. And we can trust it. So, some tools to help with our third eye chakra. Lapis Lazuli, or Lapis Lazuli, which I love, but I didn't say it properly then. This sitting on the third eye chakra is really interesting. I found it very interesting, and I know a lot of other people have too. So if you've got a little tumble stone of Lapis Lazuli, you might want to sit it here on your third eye chakra when you lay down and see what happens. That's pretty powerful. So we're looking at tools to support our third eye chakra, crystals that are blue or purple. So amethyst, lapis lazuli are ones that come to mind. Also our violets or blues colours can also help support our third eye chakra. Putting crystals, our fingers here, painting little pictures, little circle or something here on the third eye chakra can also help open this third eye chakra. It's also very much self-exploration. So really thinking about our senses, our intuition, and especially trust. And really working out what defines trust for us. How would you define trust? I've shared with you how I would define it. How would you define it? How would you define intuition? So as you explore and work these types of things out, then you can start applying what you learn to your life. Because it's very much, we think third eye, we think intuition, we think psychic things, spiritual things. But that's just a teeny tiny fraction. When we can work with those tools, these heightened senses that we have to support our life, our day-to-day decisions, our day-to-day living, then that's where it really counts. And I really feel that's where the power is. So if we awaken up our intuition through healing or doing spiritual practices, that's great. Now, how can you apply that to your everyday life? How can you make intuitive decisions that you trust just in day-to-day activities? That's where the real power is. So some cards for the third eye chakra, healing energy cards. Definitely the third eye activation, if I can find it. And any others I stumble upon on the way. I think this one, definitely connecting with the third eye chakra, spirit message. This is about following or noticing the signs and the synchronicities. I mean, we could have signposts blaring right here in front of us and not see them or not trust them or be skeptical of them. So then that comes back to the third eye chakra. So definitely signs and synchronicities, as we notice them, will guide us back to the third eye chakra. And what else? We've got the meditation card connected with the third eye. This is about focus. So focusing on what we're doing with our whole being, our whole energy. And lucky last, second from the end, is this. This is a really powerful one for the third eye chakra. It's called third eye opening, which I think I'm changing the name of for memory in my upgraded deck. But you can place this on your third eye chakra. It's super powerful. I only actually have to think of this card and my third eye chakra starts getting very active. It's very possible to feel the energy moving here, especially as you get deeper into exploring this area of your third eye chakra. It's quite common to feel a bit of tingling or activity or heat, or even just this slight sense of movement. It's also quite common to have photos taken and you've got like this shiny spot here of the third eye chakra opening up. So if you want to open up yours more and connect with this side of yourself and the power that you can unlock, then you can also place that on your third eye chakra. So I trust this information's helpful. Let's do an activation of our third eye chakra. See, I feel really clear in that. I didn't really have to think about it. I have a gut feeling. My claircognizance has stepped in and I trust it. So I trust that side of my intuition right now, which I feel I'd like to do an activation of our third eye chakra. As far as what I'm going to use to do that, I'm not going to think about it too much now because I really don't know. I'll see what I grab and I might have more information as I pick a card. Sometimes we don't know yet because something else needs to be revealed that's going to make us more sure or more certain or more trusting in, okay, actually this is what I'm going to do. So it's quite common for me even to wake up and go, I have no idea what I'm going to do today. Now I remember clearly one of the days with our retreat recently, the retreat, it was our big release day. And I woke up, actually I went to bed I think that night thinking, I don't really know what I'm going to do. We'll see what happens in the morning. So I woke up that morning thinking, I have no idea what I'm going to do. And I'm supposed to be leading this release. And like I just had a blank, a total blank. And so I'm having a slight freak out. It's just slightly inside, having a little freak out. But then at the same time, okay, I can trust this. And then I think Corey and I went and did a bit of shopping. And I still don't know what I'm going to do. I have no idea. And I just had to let the day unfold. And I can tell you it was one of the most powerful days that we've had on the retreat. Because I was like, okay, I feel really interested in bear. I mean, that doesn't really mean anything for releasing, but let's do a bear meditation and we'll see where that goes. And the bear meditation led into the cypress oil, into a phoenix, and then I was reading on the phoenix and it talked about the phoenix leaving the deathbed or something. And I knew right there when I read deathbed that we have to make a deathbed. And I can tell you it was the most confronting but powerfully healing moments. But at the beginning of the day, I had no idea. No idea. So sometimes, like with this instrument thing, which is not a big deal, sometimes we don't know yet. So we've got to trust in this, just the little steps that we take. Because we'll know that moment when something locks in, when we hear a word, when we're faced with something that, that's what I need to do. So, you know, we're not always confident and sure with the steps that we take. So we just take the small steps that sort of feel right. Yes, I'm curious about this, so let's follow it. Yes, I'm sort of interested in this instrument and this instrument. I don't know which one right now, so I'll just get both and then I'll see what happens as we go. So, you know, I think that's important to talk about because, you know, it's not, you know, we might look at people that are very trusting and think that they're just so confident and they always know exactly what they're going to be doing, but we actually don't, not always. So let's find a healing energy card to go into our healing time, our healing activation of our third eye chakra. So this is especially important if you have your third eye chakra sealed shut. So usually through things like baptism or being christened and sealing it shut. We really want to open that and remove that seal so that we can tap into the power of our intuition and our ability to trust. And our card to go with our activation time is self-love. It says, spend time in reflection, silence, or solitude. See, I'm kind of going back to silence. So maybe I don't even need an instrument, but I'll just see. So spend time in reflection, silence, or solitude to help you love and accept who you are. I'm just thinking about that. Help you love and accept who you are. I'm thinking about whether can we love and accept who we are if we don't trust that love is possible, or we don't trust that we can, that if we don't trust in acceptance. Allow yourself to receive, look within, pure love. So let's allow ourselves to be carried into a place of love and support as we tear down the barriers and blocks and sealing off and whatever we might be blocked with here in the third eye chakra. Let's know that it's safe for us to move into that sacred space as we look within and hold this space in love as we do what we need to do. Okay. Well, now I'm feeling sure. I'm actually going to play this singing bell. Interesting to know what note this is at. I wonder if I can turn on my tuner while I'm streaming. If it goes off, I'll be back in just a second. I'm really interested to see which note this is at. Actually, I better not. I might drop the stream. I'll check it out later. I'm going to play the singing bell now. I'm going to turn it this way. This is the Tibetan singing bell. And I'm going to play this to really, I'm feeling now this spiral energy moving in, and maybe that's too why I needed to play this, spiraling down this sound into the third eye chakra to really pop out any seals or blocks or I see a lot of coverings over the third eye chakra, band-aids, stickers, blocks, and people, you know, in some ways energetically stick something over the third eye chakra they don't want to see, they don't want to know, so they block that part off, maybe as children or maybe in past lives it's carried over. So let's really imagine the sound here going in like a sound wave, like a spiral, like a vortex, going deep into our, oh, feels quite tender in there at the moment, right down into our third eye and popping out any blocks, seals, coverings, whatever may be blocking our third eye chakra, and then I'll guide us through. Now, if your intuition's telling you to do something else, please trust that. So nice big breath, just find your center. If you want to, you can place your fingers, palm, crystal, card, whatever, onto your third eye chakra if that's what you want to do. Trust it. If you don't feel it strongly, don't do it. Don't feel that you have to. It's just an idea. Okay, and this energy comes in from the front. This beautiful rich blue light. And it comes in from the front in this big spiral, like a spiral laser of light. And it gets smaller as it reaches our skin, and it sort of corkscrews into our third eye chakra, right into the center point, right to our pituitary gland. I think that's how you pronounce it. And right in there. And this light finds all seals, coverings, blocks that are stopping our third eye chakra from opening. Doesn't matter why they were put there or how. We just recognize them and let them go. We don't need them now. It's safe for us to let them go. We're not going to be burned at the stake. We're not going to be murdered for being intuitive. We're not going to be cast aside as witches. This is where our sacred power sits. Our sacred ancient power. So a lot of us have had some very suppressed areas here. There's certain authorities that don't want individuals to be powerful. And this is a power that's deeper than facing our fears. This is a power and ability for us to really trust in ourselves, to stand in our individual power. So this corkscrew energy just spirals in and continues finding and removing all blocks that are blocking us from seeing, truly and fully seeing through our third eye chakra, which basically means using our intuition. Okay, so let it go. It may feel a bit burny. Let's turn. I'm going to now do this the other way, and we'll turn the spiral the other way and expand our third eye chakra. Expanding and letting our third eye chakra push open and open. Now it's only going to open as far as your vibration allows. You're not going to have like a monstrous third eye chakra and a teeny tiny throat. It doesn't work like that. Can't remember which way I was doing it now, so it doesn't really matter. But let's open our third eye chakra as far as our frequency and vibration allows. We don't need to know that. We don't govern that. It's just based on vibration and energy. So imagine your third eye chakra growing and growing, and maybe being a little bit elongated like an oval, and it gets larger and larger and wider and deeper. And then as it reaches a certain size, it's like a light switch is turned on in the third eye chakra, and this beam of light shines out from inside. This is your lighthouse being activated. Your endless supply of light, inner light, that helps you see. Helps you see in the darkness. It helps you see just navigating through life. It helps you see through the veil into the subtler energies and realms. So you can have your eyes closed, yet still see, because your lighthouse, the light of your lighthouse there is shining brightly. It's beaming across the land. So you can close your eyes if you want to and get a sense. Get a sense of the light of your lighthouse shining from your third eye chakra. Feel your eye here open and the light shining fully out. Get a sense of it. And get that sense through feeling. Maybe you get the sense through a visual or a knowing, or maybe you hear the light somehow. This is a good way to access your psychic senses or your intuition now. So how are you experiencing this light, this glowing light of your third eye chakra? It beams out, helps you see, and not literally see, it helps you sense. So keep your third eye chakra open and active. The old part of the old school thinking was that you had to close off and seal shut all of your chakras. No, you don't need to do that. Not these days, I don't feel. Unless you believe you have to, then you'll still need to. But it's not necessary now. We're not going to be burned at the stake like we used to for practicing this sort of stuff. Down in the basements and in hiding and in the barns. It is a safer world now for us to practice opening these gifts and tapping into this power that's available. So you can keep your third eye chakra shining brightly and start bringing your attention back to your body and back to your breathing perhaps. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Slowly open your eyes if you had them closed. you might feel quite open through here. You might feel like you've got another eye here, and you might intuitively see it when you look in the mirror. But you might get this sense of heat, this sense of something moving here. So now it's like the slate's been wiped clean. And now would be a really great time to now practice discovering more about yourself through this powerful center here. And I would be starting, first of all, with the senses, if you're not sure about them, your intuition. And I'd also be exploring in my journal, if I haven't already, which I have many years ago, I would recommend exploring what's my definition of intuition and what's my definition of trust. Then the first ways I would look at that would be go to a dictionary and look at the formal meanings. And then I would sit with it. If I want to take it deeper, I'd meditate. And I'd go on a meditation, I would ask, please show me. How can I understand trust better? What does trust mean to me? And just keep exploring and discovering. There's so much that we can tap into wisdom-wise with these types of exploration. So it's not just about, working with colours and crystals and things. It's really about, okay, how can I explore this deeper for myself? So that's the third eye chakra. I trust you're feeling great. And we use the self-love card with that exercise, but I'm now getting ready to pull a card to go. So before I go, thank you for joining me. If you have any questions or any feedback or anything, please don't hesitate to contact me through my website at templeofbalance.com.au. Our crown chakra is our last of the chakra series. I cannot believe how fast this month has flown. But tomorrow, in less than 24 hours, we're going to be focusing on the crown chakra. So it will be my Tuesday at 10 a.m. So I'll have a look on the events tab if you're watching live, and you'll be able to look that up. So the crown chakra is going to seal off now, or not seal off, that was a good wording to use, especially after talking about sealing shut our third eye chakra. It's going to top off our chakra series with the crown. So our crown's our center for connection. So we're going to be talking about separation issues. We're going to be talking about connections, not only to spirit, but connections to our body, connections to our life. These are so important. So this is how we walk our talk. This is how we put into practice the heightened energies that we love connecting with, so we can be a living and breathing example of what is important to us. So connections, it's all about that tomorrow. So I will, put up a post in our group if you're watching live with some tools and tips and things. So thank you so much. So I'm now looking for the best healing energy card to go. So I'm looking for the best card to help us think about what we've talked about today, or what stood out for you as important, what might be a good thing to practice or think about to integrate this information and really work with this now in a practical way so we can help ourselves. So the best card for that is this. It's here. New life. New life. New ideas growing. Ah, yes. When we're not so clogged up mentally, and we're not so clogged up, living in fear and then avoiding or ignoring our intuition, for example, and just going through challenge after challenge, we're going to be so clogged up when we're in that space. So when we're not in that space, which hopefully you're feeling now, I'm feeling it now, then we're going to be more, have space in our head, space up here for new ideas and new inspirations to come in, which is exciting. It says nurture your dreams to bring them into reality. So self-nurturing perhaps, focus, nourishment, life, look. We talked about that a lot, didn't we? Pay attention, support and balance. So what I know about this card is it talks about let's now support the new seed that's been planted. Let's now nourish it and grow. It's like that trust wall. So we might feel great now, but we're going to have to apply what we learn or what we've learned. So it's an application, it's a growing now. It's a letting the old way of living go and letting the new way of living come in. So there's it's like a new seed has been planted or is starting to germinate. And now we need to nurture this space through self-exploration, honouring, building on our trust wall, getting to know our intuition and what it means to us and how we're sensing things. So as we nurture these sorts of qualities about ourselves, then that's going to create a great environment for that seed to continue to germinate and for this to become a really strong powerhouse centre, a source of light in our life. So we generated power, we made power down in our base chakra. We created that power station that's generating things like our third eye chakra, where we can now tap into the light and use that to support our everyday, day-to-day journey. So new life awaits. The seed has been planted. What are you going to do with it? That's the question. So thanks so much for joining me. This has been loads of fun. I love talking about this stuff, as you can probably feel. So I trust that something shared is helpful and is something you want to or are inspired to take to the next level and use it to help you in your life. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to connecting with you tomorrow for our crown chakra. Thank you so much. Namaste. Bye-bye.